Eagles. I really didn't think I'd be back this soon. But based on what just happened in the divisional round, I thought it was an interesting topic to come back to. There continues to be a huge hypocrisy around the NFL, around media personalities, around so-called fans. I mean, the discourse is huge, and it's all over Josh Allen losing in the playoffs. I had predicted. Let me level set first of all, before somebody gets in here screaming that I'm crazy. The Eagles are no longer in the playoffs because of their own foolishness. They didn't do what they needed to do this season to be better, to get better, to make their adjustments, and to continue playing at a high level in order to get back to the Super Bowl, okay? That's level set. We're not going to blame anybody else. However, let's go to the topic at hand. Josh. There's so much craziness around the fact that he lost and how everybody's talking about it. You have some people who rightfully say that Josh blew it for his team. He was crying. He knew he blew it. Then you have some people who say Josh has no weapons. He has no this. He has no that. Then you have some people who keep saying that Josh Allen is Superman. And I've mentioned this so many times. Josh is a great player. Everything I say when I talk about other players and their shortcomings is not a dig on them, because nobody's perfect. My reason for bringing them up is the narrative around how they're talked about versus how Hurts is talked about. And that's it. It's just a comparison about how the two are handled when they're spoken about. Sure, they'll say that Jalen has AJ and everybody else, okay? But they won't say the O-line was depleted and it wasn't the same as last year. When that's a fact. That's just a fact. And your entire offense lives and breathes off of a few things: your quarterback, your O-line, and your play caller. Those are the foundational pieces. And really, your O-line and your play caller can even help a bad to mediocre quarterback jump to the next level. Where if they were horrible, with the right system around them and the right players around them, they can be elevated to the next level because they've got the support system. However, it's just the opposite can be true too. If your quarterback is great, he could bring up the levels of your other things. If your play caller is not so great, or if your O-line is not so great, like we see with Hurts and like we see with Allen, where, okay, he doesn't have wide receivers, but he's had an amazing O-line this year, one of the best, if not the best. He had the best tight ends in the league this year. He didn't have great wide receivers. We got that. We're all in agreement with that. But you have him. You have defense that was decent. It wasn't the top defense, but it was good. It was a good defense. So there are holes, but lots of teams have holes. But Josh lives by the Superman moniker, and I said this all the time. He acts like at some times he doesn't have a team. Like he has to do it all himself. Like he can't just throw it away or protect the ball. The man had 4 or 5, I think they had 5 turnovers total, but he was responsible for, 3 or 4 of them? And my thing is, if Hurts had done the exact same thing, they would crucify Hurts. They would say, this is why he's not good. This is why he's not the man. This is why he sucks. This is why, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it would be raining in from the heavens about him. You have certain people that like to dig on Hurts obsessively, but then give Josh Allen a pass for playing bad. You got, like, sadly, Shady, and we already know Chase Daniels is a certified paid I mean paid, Jalen Hurts an Eagles hater. Paid. So it's almost like, okay, this is just his job and he's just doing his job. I don't even know if he really believes half the stuff he says. He might. But it's so absurd at times where it's just like, he's got to be trolling, right? But he'll go in on them, and then he's like, it's how he treats the loss, right? So the loss with Josh is, oh, I know, oh, my heart bleeds for him in his loss, and he's got a wide open man there. If he just hits that man, they would have won. Not Josh put his team behind by making 4 turnovers, and if he had made those, he probably would have won that game. That's not the sentiment. It's, oh, how he's such a bleeding heart over Josh, and he feels so bad for him because he didn't make it and because he missed the wide open man. That's the reason. Another thing that I always mention, and I'm gonna jump around here because I have so many thoughts running around in my head. I really didn't think I was gonna talk, but then you got C.J. Stroud. Same deal. All those turnovers. If Hurts played like that now, CJ is getting burnt, okay? People are talking about CJ. So I can't say that they're going light on him. But what I'm saying about CJ is the thing that we talk about Hurts, where we praise Hurts. Hurts doesn't make these types of turnovers. He did in that one Chargers game, but other than that, he really has good ball security, and he throws away the ball. Other than that Chargers game, he had 2 turnovers the whole season. Or 2 interceptions. I can't remember if it was turnovers. But the whole season. We credit to Sirianni and the coaching staff where they put up that display that I talked about. If you win the turnover battle, the NFL, 86% of the time they win. The Eagles 90% or whatever. I don't know the exact totals. But they were showing all the stats about turnover battles and how to take care of the ball. And if the Eagles do this, they're this much better than the league in percent for winning. Everybody in these playoffs this weekend that lost the turnover battle lost their match. Everybody. Who is that? The 49ers, the Bills, the Texans, the Bears. The Bears put on an entertaining show, but Caleb, 3 interceptions. They could have easily won that game. Now, one, it looked like the guy, just didn't run the route or wasn't running it hard. So that's just one that you're kind of not on Caleb. Not completely on Caleb. But you take away those, and they win. They don't have to worry about this 3-point deficit or going into overtime to win against the Rams. They win that. The Texans, they lost by, 12? But turnovers killed them. Now, their defense is so good that they got 3 turnovers from the Patriots. But the Texans committed 4 and couldn't get down the field and score because of the turnovers. It was just going back the other way. 12 points is 2 scores, 2 touchdowns. You took away the 4 turnovers, you might have those 2 touchdowns. Josh, with the 5 and the 4 that were on him, you might not go into overtime and lose in overtime, and he's, 0-7 in overtimes. That clutch gene that we talk about with Jalen, that the excuses aren't there for, that nobody has his back for. Jalen does what these other guys don't do, even in bad seasons. I talked about it briefly, but I'll just run back over it. You got the Cowboys and the Bengals. Their reasoning for not making it to the playoffs is bad defense, right? Jalen makes it even with a bad defense. You have other people's problem is they don't have a good offense. Jalen with a bad offense, he makes it to the playoffs. Now they get bounced, and I'm looking at the Seahawks and I'm looking at some of these other guys. They probably wouldn't beat them if they kept playing the way that they were. If they actually turned it on and put 2 halves together, they could beat any of these teams if they put 2 halves together. I have no doubt in my mind. I think the only one they may have struggled against is the Seahawks. So the NFC Championship came down to the Seahawks. I think that they might struggle a little bit. The Rams, I still think that they will have their number. That's just my opinion. Sue me. Unfortunately, Bo Nix got hurt, so ain't no telling what their season is going to look like. But hey, backups, Nick Foles, he even made a tweet. Backups can still get the job done, so maybe they still make it, and maybe they still win the Super Bowl. Who knows? That's neither here nor there. Let's get back on topic. I cannot stand how there's no baseline for how people talk and how people discuss the exact same sport and the exact same things that happen, but treat people differently. Everybody's crying and so upset about Josh, like I said, and his loss and how they're all upset and they want to baby him. But when the lady from Jacksonville is like, keep your head up, don't be sad, you did great, get us back here next year. She's lambasted by a lot of people. Now, granted, some people did have her back, but a lot of people did not have her back. And they were like, oh, you can't be like that. Why not? When every single media person is running, well, not every media person, but a lot of media personalities are running to Josh's aid with tissues and hugs and back rubs. Credit to Josh. He said, hey, I threw this game away. I blew it. My turnovers. I cost us the game. Like I said, I'm not down on Josh. I think he is a great player. But what I talk about with a quarterback is why I wouldn't trade Jalen for any of these guys is because he's the complete package. He's not just a one-trick superstar pony. He's everything that you need. He's got the clutch gene. He's not selfish. If the play is to hand it off, he's going to hand it off. If something else is working and something is not working, he's willing to change it up. He's willing to switch it up. You've seen it with every single coordinator. You've seen how the plays are different based on the game and based on the necessity and based on the moment. When he's asked to throw it, he's throwing it. When he's asked to pitch it to Saquon, he's doing it. When he's going to Sanders and when he's going to Swift and when he's going to AJ and, Dotson, it does not matter to Jalen. It's just about getting that W. He puts balls on the money in the game that we lost. And we had drops. Now, again, I'm not blaming AJ and everybody else because our woes were bigger than that. I said that we had like 5 core things that went wrong. So drops alone are not the deciding factor. They hurt, but there was a lot of other stuff going on. But Jalen puts it on the money. He's like, all right, we didn't make it. But I mean, everybody rains down fire and brimstone on Jalen when you got this going on out here. And I really do not understand it. I don't understand how we can look at the same sport, look at the same position, the quarterbacks, and judge them so differently. You see, they fired the Bills coach. He says, you have Josh Allen. I'm guessing. You got Josh Allen. He's had 8 years of never making it to the Super Bowl when he should. Everybody thinks he's the greatest. And he's not getting there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, McDermott took them from a terrible record to being where they are with Josh. And it's the same thing I say with Nick. You go from a 5-win team to playoffs every single year, Super Bowls every other year. You can't let go of a guy like that. However, Nick has been to 2 Super Bowls and won one where Josh has not been to any. And everybody unanimously thinks that Josh is better than Jalen. And he may have a skill that's better than Jalen. He might. But as an overall quarterback, he's not. He's not. He just lives too wild and out there and free. You can get 6 turnovers from Josh or you can get 6 touchdowns from Josh. How is that a winning formula? It's not. Which is why they went home. You can't have that. Same with Stroud and everything. So let's go back to this real quick. Because I had mentioned Stroud. But not because he wasn't getting roasted, because he is. But because of what I always say about Jalen, and I just mentioned it, how he's always gotten to the playoffs. Consistency. Stroud had a great rookie year, and he's been chasing that great rookie year ever since. He's been trying to put on that same performance and bring himself up to that same luster ever since. He doesn't have the sustained performance and the sustained, how should I say, elevation of his skill set and taking it to the next level and getting to the big game. Same with Jaden Daniels. He was sensational last year. There was a bunch of luck, but he still was a great player last year. And then you have a fall off, even on the games he played. Okay, so we're not blaming the whole season on him, but even in the games he played, he didn't play that well this year. You have Caleb. Caleb, again, he looks great this year. Last year, he looked okay. He got sacked a lot, so that O-line kind of let him down because I think he was the most sacked quarterback. So his O-line let him down. With more time in the pocket, you see he was able to produce. However, that's 2 years. Where is the sustained performance that you look for in a quarterback to find out whether they're good? Josh has been great for 8 years, but never make it to the Super Bowl. Burrow has been, Lamar, because Lamar and Josh are around the same time, 8 years, but never been to the Super Bowl. Burrow's been once, but lost, but has missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. We got to start looking at, and people talk about Patrick like this. They say, yeah, Patrick has not been playing his best ball in the last 2 years, but guess what? He's in every Super Bowl. And that's a fact. That's a sustained performance. So what I'm saying is every measuring stick that they use to talk about a quarterback is changed per quarterback. And I cannot stand that. They hold one value for Pat and Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar. And then they have the sticks for the rookies. They're sensational. I would take them over Hurts in an instant, or anybody in an instant, for rookies who don't have proven track records. And then you got the Jalen Hurts standard, whereas if he's doing great, it's everybody else's the reason. If they're doing bad, he's the sole reason why they're doing bad. They can't win with Hurts. They can't do this with Hurts. It's absolutely narrative. This is why I say you have to do reasoning for yourself and listen to how they change it and how they tweak it based on their favorite QB and based on their favorite team and based on narrative and based on what they want to put out there. They change it all the time. It's never the same measuring stick. Was it Ryan Clark? It was somebody who was talking to Cam and was like, it doesn't matter what you say about Hurts. If he wins, you're going to talk bad about him. If you lose, you're going to talk bad about him. And that's just the reality of it, which is so sad. So you have sustained performance that these guys do not have. Now, if the Patriots win or the Broncos win, those guys are unproven. It'll be great. Well, Bo Nix won't have one because he won't play the conference championship and he won't have played the Super Bowl. So we can't give the Super Bowl to him. We can give up to the divisional round to him. And he played great. There's no doubt about it. He played really good. I didn't think that come from behind stuff would keep working, but it has for him. And I didn't think the come from behind stuff would keep working as much for the Bears. And it bit them in the Lions game and now this game with the Rams. They just dig themselves holes that they couldn't get out of. But it looked like he was going to do it. Sam Darnold. Now, we all know Sam Darnold is the one who sees ghosts, right? But he has a chance to really change that narrative with a win in the conference championship over Stafford and a Super Bowl win. That he's had problems, but he's corrected them. He's grown. He's matured. He's a better player. Because guess what? Winning 14 games with the Vikings and then winning 14 games with the Seahawks, totally different teams, different coasts. Well, I mean, the Minnesota isn't on a coast, but, different sides of the country. That's reputable. And if he can keep this up and go to the Super Bowl, he's got something to be proud of. He really does. And hopefully he can keep that sustained performance. Because the ghost moniker for him is fair up until this point. Up until at least last year. We'll say up until at least last year. Because He got all those wins, and then in the last two games, it was some of the worst games he ever played. So it kind of still haunted him, but now he's doing fantastic. But let's be fair. I think it was the game before last where I don't think he even had a touchdown, a passing touchdown. So a Super Bowl will help him. Let's just go with that. A Super Bowl will really help him. Who else is left? Drake May is a rookie. All props to him if he's able to win. And then Stafford. If Stafford gets another one, then, hey, you can retire a happy man with two different squads. Oh, no, was he on the Rams then? I can't remember. Wherever he won the other one, he can retire happy, right? He can definitely retire happy with two. So that's how the end of it is. But I just wish to God that everybody could really see how messed up this is, how they talk about Jalen and how they coddle other people and how they just do this foolishness, this song and dance to try to make him look terrible. I hope you guys really see it after listening to how everybody's talking this year. I mean, after these playoffs. I hope you really see it. It's so obvious, it's not even funny this time. Like I said, I don't know if I'll keep talking. I guess when we get our OC, when we get our OC, I'll talk about that. But so many coaches getting let go. I don't know why. I meant to mention this in the last video. I don't know why there's so many people are on the Miami head coach. I can't remember his name, but if I recall right, him and Vic didn't really get along when they spent their time together. So why put them two together to butt heads and be causing friction? No, don't do that. Get somebody else. You don't want to bring chaos into what's already a volatile situation. You want an OC that can bring the best out of bring the best out of our team, out of our quarterback, out of our receivers, out of everybody, but not cause contention with our defense because our defense looks great. We want to leave that alone and not cause any confusion over there. So hopefully we get somebody good in for that position. I'm excited because if they do their job and they get the right fit and we retain a lot of our talent, we have a chance to really take off. Now let's look who's in free agency real quick. Let's look real quick. Dallas Goedert, Fred Johnson, Brett Toth, Jahan Dotson, Grant Calcaterra, Matt Pryor, Keelan Grayson, Sam Howell, Ben VanSumeren, A.J. Dillon, Jalen Phillips, Nakobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Adoree Jackson, Brandon Graham, Marcus Epps, Josh Uche, Azeez Ojulari, and Okoronkwo, if I said the name right, and Braden Mann. We have a ton of free agents. I don't know what our salary looks like because I don't really follow it with the pennies and cents of the football. I just watch it to enjoy them play, and when they're not playing, I'm not enjoying the sport. So I don't know what our ability is to keep these players. But Dallas Goedert, Jahan Calcaterra, Jalen Phillips, Nakobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Brandon Graham. I mean, Brandon could retire again. But, I mean, we have some we have some real talent that we're liable to lose here, which is why I agree with Howie. Howie's like, we want to win now. And you got to win now when you have the pieces together. When you have your superstars all together, that's when you want to win. And now we can potentially lose half or all, or I don't know, because I don't know what the salary's looking like. I don't know who's going to be chipping after these people. I don't know how they feel after the end of the season. I'm not, on the team in the locker room. I don't know if they want to stick around in dysfunction. I don't know if they are going to wait to see who the OC is. I have no idea what's going to happen to our team. But there are some marquee names here that we might lose. And you never know who you're going to get and how they'll turn out. You got to win now. I am so upset that we pissed away this opportunity to go to back-to-back Super Bowls. We did that to ourselves. But it is what it is. I just wanted to come on here real quick and talk about how absurd the narratives were and how you could see they don't hold each other to the same standards. And, oh, well, Allen doesn't have anybody. He does. He's got people. And he doesn't have to play like that. And these other guys with all these turnovers, it's just crazy. Okay? Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds.